This is Emerson. She's a ritual tattoo artist whose work carries such incredible intention. And as soon as I discovered her work, I knew she was the person to sacredly mark my skin, to initiate me into the next phase of my artistry and beingness on this planet. And beyond tattooing, Emerson collaborates with her partner for a project called Golden Black, creating immersive art and installations. She's also a DJ, curating ecstatic dance experiences that invite people into transformation. And in our conversation today, we explore what it means to hold boundaries with clients while honoring the sacredness of the work she's here to do. I'm genuinely honored to share Emerson with you. Stay tuned for our conversation. Hello, Emerson.
Hello.
So very grateful and excited to have you for this conversation today and pick your brain. You're such a brilliant, creative human being, and I really, really resonate with your essence and, of course, have infinite layers of gratitude for the beautiful ink that bestows my arms. I wore this shirt so I could show it off a little bit. I remember when I was in my tattoo ceremony with you and I said, I'm going to be talking about you for the rest of my life, right?
Yeah, I remember you saying that. Now that you bring that up again, because that session, I think, changed something within me too. And it really, I think, you are a permission giver and you are doing things in your life that I'm like, holy fuck, she's even giving me permission to step deeper into my purpose and my passion. And I remember the way that you would move with the mudras and just like while we were designing your tattoo, the way that you were like connecting. You showed me Yaima. I'm obsessed with Yaima now forever because of you. And yeah, I feel like you are a very catalytic and pivotal moment in my journey as an artist as well. So I'm really excited to be sitting with you today. And it's been so fucking cool to like witness this massive journey that you have gone on. Like just the Shay that I met when we were did your tattoo versus the Shay who's interviewing me now. I'm like, holy fucking individuated, authentic, truthful self that was just begging to like emerge and break through, and you fucking have. And it's just really cool to watch. And I have your spider canvas over my coffee thing, and I love getting to just like spend time with that every morning as well. So
Dude, yes. Thank you for that reflection as well. And it sounds like from what you shared then and then what I know about you now, your work has that impact on people. So I'm sure it came as no surprise to see me evolve into this woman. I mean, I was already there and then the
mm,
energies sink and then blossoming. And also I feel like the absolute sacredness and power of adding symbols to our skin
mm,
shifts our physical body, the energetic body, the way not only that I perceived myself, but also the way other people perceive
mm.
me. And
Oof.
so many conversations and connections have transpired in my life. It's because it's such
Mm,
beautiful, interesting ink, and I feel like you really captured the essence of the energy flowing through me with your
mm,
work, and people see that and it brings people into my field. And so it's really that whole expansive portal that you create and also the magic and sacredness of tattooing as
mm.
well.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's so cool to hear this stuff because when I began this work with tattooing, I think I felt this in my soul, that the possibility of what this could become. I obviously did not start at like a level to be able to hold threshold spaces and stuff like that, but I felt like this pull and this calling. And it's really cool to hear how, just over the course of this work, how transformative it has been for people. People come to me and say like, oh, this has happened for me, or this is transformed, or whatever. It's like, you are the one that did it. I was able to hold a space for you, but you had to do all of the work afterwards, all of the internal like rewiring and space holding for yourself. And it's interesting to hear people be like, oh, but you did this for me, or you did this to me, or whatever. And it's like, I really feel it in my soul. It's like, no, like we did that portion together, but it was you who had to like walk that.
Do you feel pedestalized at times?
It's a fine line between like people genuinely wanting to share insight and love and connect around the connection that we have. But I have experienced recently where if I don't fulfill an expectation I never signed up for or whatever it may be, then it must be the pedestal because I will get kicked off the pedestal. So I think there is a little bit of that where I don't maybe fully recognize when it's happening. How do I put this? It's like, for example, I've had clients in my past who, if I don't like respond right away, if I'm not constantly there to hold them through their process, and if I don't set those clear boundaries, I try to meet every single one of those situations with a lot of compassion and grace and realize that the best thing I can do for them is just let them feel how they're going to feel, allow them to feel whatever they're moving through within this process, and just continue to hold that love while also hold the boundaries for my own space and protecting that as well. So all this to say, I think you can really relate, like when you are working within this realm of energy, spell casting, all the stuff, it's really important to be going in with these like really clear boundaries of who, like what the role is. And that's something I've had to learn a lot of times in a lot of different ways.
And I think especially with something like tattooing, where now they're seeing a reminder of you on their body every day, then they might create a lot of tether, energetic tether there. And it would be impossible for you to support all of the people that you work with in that.
But I do. I do in my heart.
Like support in a way of actual engagement and communication. I mean, I hope you have a really long life ahead of you.
Yeah.
Maybe you do offer ongoing support and you get paid pretty penny for it. And you had space for that, and so that it feels really
totally
nourishing for everyone involved. And I hope that you also deeply feel how many people do not get reminded and think of you as a villain, but just hold so much gratitude for your existence and what you bring. Yeah.
That means a lot. I appreciate that. I really love this idea too of being able to maybe hold a container within all of that afterwards and being able to receive a compensation for that. I think within that too, there's something within my heart that's like shifting to being like, what if I kept my tattooing practice the way it is and then created a separate container specifically working with artists and entrepreneurs and healers and doing that work with them and using new knowledge that I'm gathering with yoga and NLP, gene keys, human design, all that, of creating a system or container for them to be able to walk themselves through an alchemical process. Here's everything that I've learned over this amount of time of stepping into this artistry role and how that simultaneously has been this crazy journey of self-discovery and self-knowledge and how they go hand in hand with one another. Here's all the tools, here's all the systems that I have used and that I've put to practice, and it fucking worked.
You are a transformation artist with many tools in the toolbox. Which one shall we use today? Let's tinker around here. The fun of being an alchemist, right?
Yeah.
So in my experience, and this is years ago now, I think it was 2022, I think I got tattooed by you.
Yeah.
We had opening ritual, then we had tattoo, and then is it a part of your practice now to have a closing ceremony?
If the person has like the space for it in that moment, the closing ceremony includes anchoring with NLP, really anchoring in the ecstatic emotions and doing the physical anchors on the tattoo, on the body, so that they can resource it themselves. Yeah. My goal is to be able to do that right away, right when the tattoo is done, have them in that state. For some people, if we're getting out at like 10 o'clock at night or whatever, it's just, you're done. You're just like, you probably won't even be able to fully receive that information. And usually what I'll do with people is like, hey, come the next day, let's do photos, let's do the anchoring then. I feel like the closing ceremony is much more less like ceremonial as the beginning. It's more just this moment of like, let's fucking breathe together. Let's like come to this moment of just simple breath. Look what you've done. Look what you've experienced. Look who you're becoming now. And it seems to be almost just this like final wrapping, you know what I mean? And a reflection space.
In that moment, are you re-anchoring in? Like, this
Oh, yeah.
experience with us is closing now. It just feels like a lot of energy coming towards you. And
Yeah.
I resonate with you in being someone who really inspires and instills a lot of shifts in people. And so I navigate some of these same frequencies on a different degree than you. And so these are things that I think about too.
Yeah.
How has this transition been for you where it seems like historically your identity was so based on this tattoo, ceremonial work, and then obviously your other amazing crafts and building and
Mm.
paintings and all that, but I feel like now you've moved into sharing a lot more other things. So I'm curious what that's like for you on the online space or being someone who has an online presence.
Mm. Well, I'm definitely experiencing the all too familiar human feeling of imposter syndrome and self doubt and feeling vulnerable stepping into a coaching space. And I am really beating, like, coming up against the space of like, who are you to coach? Who are you to lead these people? Who are you to hold space for people to walk through a transformative container if it does not involve any kind of physical exchange? Is stirring up a lot of interesting shadows, I feel like, in my system.
There's like
But
mind, body, spirit. And so
yeah.
you got it nailed in with the body transformation. And now you're
Mm.
delving into these realms of mind and spirit, and you're at the point where you've been studying, you've been witnessing, you've been
Mm.
observing, you've been working with people for all of these years. And so yeah, there's going to be a transition. It's an expansion, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're expanding what you believe you're capable of, what you know
Yeah.
you're capable of. You're studying subconscious work too. And what I've learned when you're leaping, especially when you're doing identity work, that comes with that
Yeah.
quantum crumble, whether it's external or internal, and
Yeah.
that feeling of almost like an ego death moment, or at least this has been
Yeah.
my experience stepping into new identity to even be this person who's confident enough to have these conversations with people and feel like
Yeah.
I can guide us through it. I'm walking through that very same threshold as you.
Yeah.
And I had to
Yeah.
navigate that too. I know I can do this, but then actually communicating it out into the world, into the people and calling them in, I definitely felt like I needed to prove it. Prove
You
it.
need to prove it. Yeah. You have to have it figured out, whatever that pressure is. And then, like, at least I've broken through identities before. So I kind of have a little bit of a map of, okay, when I begin to expand, when I go through this process, I'm going to meet this pressure. I'm going to meet this imposter syndrome. I'm going to meet this thing. How do I work with it? How do I meet that moment? How do I breathe with it? How do I still show up and do it anyways? And that is vulnerability through and through. It is just being so courageous enough to be vulnerable and say, here I am, here's what I'm going through, here's what I'm experiencing. And I think what happens in my crazy multidimensional brain, like being a manifesting generator in human design too, is I want to be four new different identities at once. So it's not just like I'm just changing into this new identity. It's like, oh, I want to be a musician. I want to play music. I want to make music. I want to sing, fucking welding a massive project. Now I fucking love sanding furniture and like maybe upcycling furniture. Like there's just so many different things that I get pulled to. I feel one aspect of me is pulling me towards Dharma. And then there's another aspect of me that is like, I'm like, it's fulfilling like a deep desire and a deep dream and a deep wish
And do
and
all
do
the things.
everything.
I know
Yeah.
we have Mars placement in Gemini. We've touched on that before in
Yeah.
common.
Yeah.
And that's like your drive, your authority, the what moves you. It's that planet of war. And
Yeah.
when it's in Gemini, it's very much super curious and very
Yeah.
mental. And so wanting a lot of stimulation and getting bored. Not even bored, it's like I still really fucking love that, but look at this. And look
Yeah.
at this, and
Yeah.
look at that.
And it's all connected. And I think that the only time I feel pressure, the only time I feel stress, the only time I feel like I gotta hustle and I gotta work harder and I gotta figure it out and all that stuff is when I am not trusting, not just actually being like, wait a second, I'm not doing this. Like spirit is breathing me, life is breathing me, life is flowing me. So if I can tune into that flow, then I'm being pulled to where my energy is best used in any given moment. And that's very much, I feel like, tuning into the chaos, the syntropy of everything too on a higher scale. Yes, you're being pulled to do all the things, but make sure that one of the things you're being pulled to do is like taking care of all of your business shit, not just all the art stuff. And so like having these kind of structures to be able to be pulled to all of these other amazing right brain artistic kind of things while also being a fucking businesswoman, because that feels important to me.
To contain
So
you and tether you while you fly.
yeah.
Ground you into this earth plane. So one of the things you love doing is making music and DJing out there. I would love to chat more on that and what that feels like for you.
Music is all of life. Music blows my fucking mind.
What's the difference in feeling when you're in the creation or planning process for what you're gonna do versus when you're sharing it and you're out there engaging with the public and they're receiving it and you're watching them?
I can just really speak to the last two sets that I've played because they were both ecstatic dances. In fact, I just want to bring what I've been able to do with these ecstatic dances into a club environment. Eventually, I guess what I feel really pulled to with music is curating these experiences. And I feel like that's what ecstatic dance really gives. Club environments too, but ecstatic dance, you literally start from zero. It's this moment of birth or being in the womb and then going all the way through this arc to this peak moment and then back into death. And so I really enjoy curating that experience. The process leading into it, getting all the material, it's just a matter of tuning into the energies that I believe are going to be there that night and just kind of like envisioning that space, envisioning who's going to show up, envisioning what these people need, like what in order to move something in their body. Because dance at the end of the day, like getting this movement in our body, I think is one of the greatest medicines, and it's a forgotten medicine. And I, in so many ways, like I think we were like, oh, we're just dancing to like dance. It's like, dude, while you're dancing, you are healing your nervous system, especially if we can add an extra layer of an intention, an extra moment of breath work, a way to be able to really drive people through these emotional experiences and allow their emotions to release through their movement and through their breath is kind of my main driver, I feel like, with the music curation. And so this last one was really cool. It was the like Gemini full moon in December. And so that's immediately cool. Like the last two ecstatic dances I've been have happened during these like pretty big astrological moments too. So just kind of tuning into what was happening, and I could feel like there was this essence of like wanting to just really let go in terms of letting seriousness go, having to have it all figured out thing. It was so fucking cool because multiple people after the experience of ecstatic dance, they came up to me, completely different situations, and they just said, I just had the most fun time. I just got to play tonight. Like it was just so playful. They're like, I haven't been to an ecstatic dance that felt like I was just like a child again. And that was a really cool experience to hear from so many different people saying the same thing, because I feel like that was so much the intention even of that Gemini full moon is like, have humor. Life's not so serious. Like play. It doesn't need to be this like just extreme suffering all the fucking time. It's kind of in my own little world for that one, which was super freaking cool. I feel like I was in my own space and conducting an energetic field. For example, in club environments, I freaking love connecting with audience. And I love being able to look into people's eyes. And every time during that last ecstatic dance, I would like look up and see people. It was kind of those moments where you just connect with the right person with the right moment. And it's just, I don't know, for me, it's when I play and when I'm DJing in those spaces, it literally feels like I'm on a drug. Like I go in sober and I leave feeling so high, breathing with the music too. I'm breathing with the crowd. And so it almost, there's like a new entity that begins to build in the room. And then that's what you're breathing and connecting with. And I just, every time I leave, I'm just like, ooh, I feel like so on the earth, but so expanded in my heart and open in my mind. It's a beautiful, beautiful feeling.
I love all this, and I have a vision of you traveling around to different ecstatic dance communities and bringing your medicine in. And I also, just as a dancer now, want to go travel around and visit these communities too. And
Yeah.
I'm really blessed in Seattle. We have a beautiful ecstatic dance community. There's like 5 different groups, and the one I'm part of, they do
Ooh.
Tuesday, Thursday, there's an ecstatic dance, and then they have a mini festival every month. So it's like really popping here.
Oh my God, I love, and acceptance is just, it's like where my heart gets pulled, because it's one thing to be, again, like I love, especially like my hometown club, Dead Ringer is the best. I just fucking love that place. I really do. But there is a different experience of like being in that environment and then being in an environment where you can like really get big and allow yourself to move. And it's just very oriented towards the dance, you
And
know?
people know they're moving to express and free their body versus
Yeah.
attract someone on the dance floor or,
Yeah.
you still can do that, of course, but
Yeah.
I feel like there's just an energy. It's not even necessarily spoken because the people who show up for the first time just tap into it, but the people who are there,
Yeah.
they know like this is prayer, this is medicine, this is
Yeah.
healing me. We're all
Yeah.
connecting, we're all on this journey together through the music, and then there's that opening, and then depending on where you're at, I mean, there's that closing component too. And so it definitely is this spiraling vortex, and you can feel the energy move, the songs change, and then it's like, okay, now we're gonna get here, and you're accessing
Yeah.
different emotions, and it's not
Yeah.
just for fun, even though it can be playful. People are processing all kinds of stuff as
Yeah.
they dance, and the music takes
Yeah.
us there, and it's just like this really beautiful, cohesive experience and environment, and it's kind of addicting because it feels so good. Also,
Yeah. To that point, I had a dear friend. She was the one who invited me to be the DJ. And she came up to me afterward and like kind of like, just you feel the emotion in people. And she just said, oh, like that experience made me realize I'm responsible for everything in my life.
mm,
Like it's just like really big awarenesses and insights can come through in these, and I've just seen it happen with kind of exactly what you're saying. It's not, yes, there's, and play can be a breakthrough experience for a lot of people, but to your point, like people will process grief and rage and just all sorts of other emotions that they get to also process in community,
mm,
without needing to say a fucking word.
yeah.
And I just think there's something so medicinal about being seen by your community while also like most people's eyes are closed. And you're being seen by something greater. And to me, it's like you're being seen by the music. And what is music but from, especially as a DJ, if I'm not making the music, that music is somebody else's heart who made that track, who curated that experience and brought that from their own thing. And I'm just bringing it together in a mix. So obviously in this container of these people who are dancing here, but we're connecting to these larger human forces at play as well.
Mm, mm. How do you know when a dance floor is ready to be taken into something deeper?
Hmm. I think it all really comes back down to when you are the DJ, when you're leading that experience.
Right.
Are you ready to go deeper? Right? It's like it really comes back into self. Like as the DJ, you were responsible for holding these people. And in so many ways, that means you're also conducting and leading them. So, into that point, like you're watching people, you're creating almost like a build, I feel like, and you're creating a little bit of space for people to open themselves up. And a lot of the times that's going to be music that's like very more heavy in the highs and the mids, maybe a little bit less in the lows. And then as you create that build, as you create that tension, that moment of like kind of almost bringing up in revelation, then you as that leader, that conductor, you are preparing that next track that has a pretty, maybe a heavy low, some heavier mids, to be able to bring that experience all the way back kind of down and in to the body, to go back into that deep experience where it's like you're really moving and processing. And it's not that you have to be like having a lot of big movement to be having big processing. I think the deeper is also like how much more true can we get?
Mm,
How much more real and raw can we get? Whether that means going big and open and a lot of movement or if it just means going still.
Mm.
And again, then you're the one who's like kind of checking in with self. It's like if I'm not ready to go deeper into my emotions, into my breath, into what I am holding for these people, then don't go there yet. Back off.
And then as a dancer, you're making these decisions on the dance floor too. So there's so many micro layers of possibility and choice and
Yeah.
you're deciding, okay, am I going to be on this part of the dance floor by this people? Am I going to go over here? What if I go right next to the DJ and I'm looking at the DJ? This is what's going through in my mind when I'm in the in the dance and I'm going around, and I really like to keep my eyes to the floor and just be in my
Yeah.
own pocket and bubble. I'm not really into contact dance. I don't really like
Yeah.
dancing with people. I just don't. But a lot of people do.
Yeah.
And so then you have those moments and you get to practice consent and what is my
Yeah.
dance communicating with all the people around me on the dance floor? Is it
Yeah.
communicating like openness and I'm ready to dance and connect with you? Or is it communicating I'm in my closed space and people might
Yeah.
be admiring or observing someone dancing, but then they're also getting practice reading the body language cues of if interaction is possible. I deal with that a lot because I be dancing it up on the dance floor and people are like, I feel like they're attracted to me and they almost
Yeah.
like follow me around the dance floor and I'm like,
Yeah.
nothing to see here, just a beautiful woman.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and, and it's so funny. I feel like I made a quote unquote mistake the other day where I really liked someone's dance moves and I looked at him and I smiled and he followed me around the dance floor for like 30 minutes. I was like, I shouldn't have smiled. Gosh dang it.
Okay, pause for a moment and think about how silly that is. It's like, I'm not going to express myself. I'm not going to show my truth and my raw expression because I'm so afraid of what this other person's like reactions may be to
That's
me.
my fear. That's what I'm bringing to community is this like
Mm,
porcupine energy. Like, don't
yeah.
touch me. Do not touch me. And so that's and I'm silently communicating that with people, but that's like
Yeah.
my own thing. Like, what if I just dance with that human? What if? And then that's where it becomes like
Mm,
this such deeper experience because that hasn't been safe for me in the past. Give people an inch, they take a mile. Oh, she wanted
yeah.
to dance with me for this one song. Maybe she wants to date with me. Maybe she's going to be my wife. And I feel like people project a lot onto me, like, and just
Yeah.
this is the form that I have. It is what it is. Like this happens to me a lot. And so I
Yeah.
practice my like boundaries and feeling of safety being essentially expressed woman, but also you can look, but you cannot touch vibe.
Yeah, when I really, really relate to that as somebody who pretty much dances almost butt naked out at Burn, and I dance. Like, I also dance in a way where I'm like, I want to be sensual. I want to be sexual, whether it's in an ecstatic dance experience or like I just kind of move. I'm sure you probably are very similar. Like you as a being are sensual. You as a being have that a pretty beautiful form that just gives way to a lot of flow. And then when you really power that up and put a lot of your energy behind it, it's exactly that. Like you're a bright light. You're a super, super fucking bright light. And I think this is kind of exactly what you're saying. It's one of the most amazing healing experiences to be like, yeah, I'm a big bright light and I'm allowed to be as big and bright as I want. I'm even allowed to look at you and smile and nod and then energetically, yeah, have that cut. And also if you cross that boundary, I'm allowed to say, you fucking have crossed my boundary. Like you need to get away from me. And it doesn't mean that I need to dim my light in any way, shape, or form to feel safe. And also kind of what you're saying too, like some of my best most beautiful experiences are opening up to people, dancing with them, having an amazing fucking time with them. And, they're totally fucking cool. They're great people. In fact, I really like them and I want to hang out with them. And now they're my friends. When I'm out in those places, I literally feel like I am having full on conversations with people. And like can really tell if I'm gonna fucking like you or not just by the way you move. And like, can tell if I'm like gonna resonate with you. And so it's one of my favorite pastimes is to communicate with people. And it's a love language. I think dancing is one of the most beautiful fucking love languages in the world.
Yeah.
And some of my most beautiful favorite memories in my life are even being with my boyfriend and being in that connective dancing experience with him, and how it just goes so much deeper beyond words. And even taking that platonically, like the dancing moments I've gotten to have with friends and how intimate it makes our bond.
I very much love and so resonate with everything you're saying. You know you're gonna vibe with someone, especially in an ecstatic dance way, where it's like, I
Yeah.
like the way your energy flows through your vessel. That's communicating a lot without any words. Yeah. And
And you
having
can
that.
just feel it.
And you have this loving partnership that you've been in for quite some time. And so I just have this feeling for me that when I do have a partner, I will feel more
Hmm.
open to connecting with people because I won't feel
Right.
single available woman energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I very much want that experience too. And I know it's possible for me.
It's extremely possible for you. And, you know, maybe you find also that partner through a way of dancing and like listening to your own intuition of, maybe I vibe with this person and they can come in a little bit. They're allowed to come in a little bit. And also, if they begin to cross any boundary, I can say, get the fuck away.
This
But
is
yeah.
so true. Yeah. Yeah. I can usually tell right away if there's that thing because immediately I'm like, for the most part, I'm like, no. But if someone I start having conversation with them, this is how I know there's possibility. Immediately I'll think, ah, I should kiss them. But like 99% of people, that never happens. And then
Yeah.
generally at this point in my journey, it's always some sort of deep soul bond, karmic history, past life experience where my field's like, oh yes, it's you. Hello, welcome. It's just
Mm,
it's part of the mystery.
yes.
Curious if in studying now NLP or hypnosis, subconscious reprogramming, if that has like learning the mechanisms behind
Mm.
transformation and the mind and the body, has that demystified any of the magic for you?
Oh, that's a really good question. No. Like, I feel like the short answer is no. New mysteries come up. Oh, that's demystified, but then it like created a whole new mystery out of that demystification. So it kind of seems like it's a paradox. Also, like the fact that a lot of this mystery has been discovered by mystics, etc., long before we've had the mechanisms and the things to be like, oh, this is maybe what's happening, right? And to me, that in and of itself is really intriguing and is mystifying to me. It's like, how did these people connect to this information? And maybe they didn't have like all these super scientific words and
Mm.
acronyms and all this stuff, but they were tuning into really pertinent information about what we now know as quantum mechanics. Like, that's fucking wild. No, it's kind of a roundabout answer, but the short answer is no.
The short answer is no. In some okay,
Yeah.
I could resonate with that. In some ways, yes, and then I have to take a few moments. I'm like, hmm. Okay, now that my consciousness has expanded in this way, I have now more space for more mystery and like more
Yeah.
things to discover to come online. And so it feels like this. That's why I'm so adamant I'm just a proponent for people continuing to study and learn because I can actually feel my field
Yeah.
getting bigger.
I also think when it comes to NLP and it comes to some of these mechanisms of looking at the brain, the psyche, the subconscious mind, and unconscious mind, like a lot of it is very much still through the realms of computer language. A lot of if this, then that. It's very logic based, can sometimes, I think, reduce consciousness to being something that's programmable. And I don't really necessarily believe that. And that's where I think a little bit more of
Mm.
the mystery is that while I think our we have these patterns and these programs, like it's tricky to begin to talk about this stuff because our language is also so limited. I don't view consciousness as a byproduct of a program. I view consciousness as almost like a substrate that things arise from.
Wait.
Yeah.
How are you getting into like hypnosis and doing this work where the intention is reprogramming the subconscious
Yeah.
if you don't think it's programmable?
My NLP teacher has like a really beautiful way of describing this, and I'm just gonna go to kind of give it to her for this. Her name is Patty Rose. She's dope. she looks at NLP through the lens of like, traditional NLP, maybe hypnosis therapy, et cetera, is this idea of like making better programs, making essentially, if we look at the Carl Jung theory of like the iceberg, right? We have the conscious mind on the top, the subconscious mind on the bottom. She's like, NLP 3D, a lot of the stuff is that we're setting up new programs or setting up new things to like make a better iceberg on the top. And we're kind of making a better iceberg on the bottom, but we're still like shaping it. We're still like changing it. We're reprogramming. We're, doing the things that we want to work better in our lives, which there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's beautiful. But what if we just melt the fucking iceberg? What if we just remember that we are the water, not the actual structures themselves?
Where does the true transformative power lie? Is it in being this like deeply spiritual, just Zen master? And okay, for example, I know some people who are just like fully and they're like all about it. Unity consciousness. Oh, we are all one. We're doing this thing. We're doing this thing. And then you live day to day. I'm not getting my shit done. So maybe we can program some of that, like you're talking, the top of the iceberg to actually make it so that we can get to those places we want to go.
Always comes back to both and. Like I would not be where I'm at in my life without having to have reprogrammed some of my behaviors and my patterns. But most of the time, those behaviors, those patterns, et cetera, come back down to emotions. They come back to stuck feelings in the body. They come back to like, that's kind of where all these things begin to really live, is what I've personally noticed. And the way that you can clear that emotion is by connecting to something that's bigger than the emotion. I'm the space for this emotion to move through. I'm not the emotion itself. So I think it's back down to that identity thing. It's like, am I the iceberg or am I the water? Identity is this, and I can shape my identity all I want to be this that I'm the person who's like now clean. I'm the person who does these things, and it's made my life so much better. I'm making so much more money, et cetera, et cetera. But can I remember that I am not the iceberg? Like I am this awareness that is being able to even create an iceberg in the first place.
It's expanding your psychological framework into something bigger. So a lot of times when people experience struggle, they might have that moment finding God or reaching for spiritual awakening. There's some sort of crumble of the system that I've built so far is not strong enough to contain the amount of emotion or unprocessed emotion. So my framework is going to get bigger, and maybe it's getting even bigger towards deeper universal truth. It's not like it's necessarily fabricating. It is that butterfly going into the cocoon, breaking out. Okay, there is another way of existing that's going to be able to hold more of the breadth of who I am. And so it has been so strong, but I just knew with this identity work that I got brought down into that like God abandonment mode, and I like went in and I excavated and I found it, and it actually made my faith stronger. This isn't a time to give up. This is when we anchor in more. This is when my trust in the universe is getting bigger, because the frame I had created, it was no longer able to hold where I'm going and who I'm becoming. I needed something even stronger. And so it grew. Understanding more of what you're describing with this iceberg thing and then the water. This is narrow, it's dense, it's like frozen. And water so communicates, and it's so fluid and liquid, and so you can create more.
And then you can also reform, right? In alchemy, we call it dissolve and coagula, right? And we completely dissolve. I mean, that was a really beautiful. I feel like you were able to really take the imagery that I was explaining and then put it through your own lived experience and explain it in a really well thought out way. As much as I'm a Gemini and of the Gemini Mars and all these things, sometimes, especially when I'm still sitting with a lot of this stuff and processing it in my own way, it feels very nebulous to me. So I appreciate you like being able to distill it as well.
I think that's why I'm so interested in psychology and the different therapeutic techniques of that. And I'm also like so mystical. Spirit guides talk to me every day. I don't have to get into a trance. I don't even know if I communicate that very much publicly, but I literally have fucking spirit beings talking to me every day. And I listen to everything they say. And the
Yeah.
that my life has gotten way cooler, way better, way more expansive
Yeah.
since I started listening. And that's been more than 5 years now that I just have these beings guiding me, right? And so I am very esoteric, very woo woo. And then for me, I like to ground it in energy and healing. And so I did all this parts work therapy and I was like, okay, how does this work? Okay, so I'm projecting this thing out there and this is creating
Yeah.
space in my system. Okay, how can I think about this in all these other ways? And so that's me. I'm more like a systems thinker. So I like to gather a bunch of information and synthesize it. And then depending on who I'm talking to, I can like code switch and use different terminology. And that's kind of my like
Yes.
genius.
Oh, dude, that's, I mean, beautiful. What's your, do you know your profile line in human design?
1-3. So I'm
I was like, you
investigator,
have to
writer.
have a one. There's just no way that you don't have a one in your fucking
And
space.
I'm an ego manifester. Don't we love how that sounds?
No, Ben's a 5-1 ego manifester. So I fucking love ego manifestors. I think you guys are great. You guys are extremely opinionated. You have a very like but you guys have a sense of self that most people don't fucking have. It's this really like I know who I am in this world when you connect to it. And
Willpower
that,
center being activated. It
yeah,
makes a big difference. We're going to be out of time, but I have so much more. But let me just dial this in because this one I feel like is something I've been discovering of myself and just learning through meditation and then in those hypnosis states. Do you think the years that you spent with the tattoo gun doing these symbols
mm,
and that whole process expanded your consciousness and guided you towards this becoming this more conscious and aware being?
100 fucking percent. Like without question, I actually wanted to create a reel about this because, and this came up to me the other day, is you can literally see it in the lines. And, you know, I've been doing this way before tattooing. I've been doing this since I was a kid. I've
Right.
been drawing these doodles, these lines, like that's what I was always told they were when I was younger. And so I've been on this whole interesting spiritual experience as well with even how I refer to them because I did not call it light language or codes or anything like that as a kid. It was just my art form, is just my expression. It's just my way of like I would draw that instead of taking notes in history. And I had this whole
Me
conversation with my
too.
history teacher saying like this is how I retain information rather than just like writing down all the words you're saying. I'm retaining the information through these like symbols and through these sets. And like when I look at it, I can remember the conversation. I can smell things again. I can hear that room and also notes as well. But it's just the way that I'm able to calm my mind and pinpoint focus. And so been doing it since I would say probably really hardcore since middle school. Still do it today. And they've changed so freaking much. And I think it's an exact representation of my consciousness. When I was younger, they were very rigid. There was a lot of triangles, a lot of squares. It was a lot of like, and maybe and some spirals, but it was very like, it just had a rigidity to it. Now, obviously, it's much more flowy. I have so many different styles. For example, when we went to Japan, like something moved in me in Japan where now I have a specific style that I equate to Japan. And I equate to almost like a deeper grief and shadowy work essence of what the lines kind of represent. And then some lines represent a part of me that's much more like, you know, maybe regal or goddessy. So it's interesting. I have so many different styles now, but they all kind of represent an aspect of myself and of my consciousness and therefore of like the collective as well. I've kind of gone on this journey where I've now pulled back from saying like light language or codes and have really leaned back into just like these are my lines, this is my expression of this moment, because I really want to make sure that I'm also not dogmatizing these things, but rather it's an expression. Yeah, don't pedestal me, don't dogmatize this, don't say that the codes are not changing your fucking life, you are changing your life. Don't externalize the power, but they are a pathway. They are something that is bringing you to that experience.
We're in like this, let's say, you're in a video game or something, and then you find this key, and then all of a
Yeah,
sudden you're transported into another place, but you
yeah,
have the decision. Do you touch this key? Do you engage with it or not? I like to
yeah.
call it soul script now, just because
Ooh,
I feel like it's my soul, it's my
yeah,
subconscious expressing, and sometimes
yes.
I feel like the dialect shifts, and I wonder if I'm connecting to different energy beings, depending on what people believe. Some people think all entities are just, expressions of you and whatnot, but I don't know. I've had way too
Yeah.
many experiences to just say that I know anything. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I totally resonated that. And I'm curious, like the Japan is such a beautiful space. I'm sure that shifted your
Yeah.
field and your expression changes, but also you're exposed to all this really freaking cool language on all the buildings and stuff. I go spend a bunch of time in the forest, all of a sudden I'm painting a brown and green painting. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
Your paintings, like I literally look at your paintings, I'm like, I get how this girl's brain works. Like I understand like how this happens and how these colors come through. And I love calling them dialects as well. I like to call them dialects. Language of the soul script. I feel like that seems to resonate the most.
I do like light language if I think about it from the frame of, okay, if we just think about light like we're shining a light or we're bringing awareness to something that was previously in the dark
Yeah.
or unconscious. Okay, until I brought this script through, it was living somewhere in the back of my being, and now I brought it to the light. And now that I've brought it to the light, I'm able to examine it and process it on the conscious level because here it is. Like, hey, here's some code or program that
Yeah.
we're ready to make conscious for you so that you can integrate this and expand because here it is. I feel like I have like my
Yeah.
little worker bees are doing some shit and then they put it in a little package and they're like, here you go. Take a look at
Dude,
this.
I freaking love your brain. Yes, yes, yes. You are explaining something that I feel like I don't have words for. And you are literally putting so many, like, you're explaining it so beautifully. It's so freaking cool. Because I remember when I first started this, I'm like, this feels so important and I have no idea what's happening. Like, and so I feel like I've been
Me
also going on this
too.
journey of like, this
Yeah.
feels so fucking important. It feels so magical, so mystical, so scientific, so neurological that like, but I have it just pours out of me. So I don't, but then when you like talk to other people, a lot of people, like everybody can do this.
They
Everybody
can, and they
has
do.
like,
And they're inspired when they
yeah,
see you doing it and they start doing it. And that literally, you're changing all the people around by being so authentically
oh,
expressed in it. Like they're them feeling less ashamed to express in those ways too. And we all influence each other in those ways, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how I look at it, like what you're saying is through that lens of the worker bees and stuff, like I just view it through vibration. I view it through more of that frequency. When I move my hand to write these things, it feels like music.
Yeah.
There's sound to it, if that makes sense. And so even like coming from the subconscious, it seems to have its own resonance, its own frequency that's being like poured up and through. So I just, again, I love your imagery. You're able to bring, I love the worker bee imagery a lot. But for
Worker
me, it
bees
comes
are
through
buzzing
like
around.
waves. Yeah.
Buzz creates vibration. Mine's just a little bit a little bit more
Yeah, exactly.
fairy tale like.
I
And
love
then
it.
even like reading sheet music, right? People are able to read
Yeah.
it and then they translate it into, I'm not a
Yes.
musician, they translate it into sound. And so it's just a similar way of understanding that communication style. And to me, thinking about
Mhm.
it in these ways does demystify it. And I have
Yeah.
felt like if I find the language, if I'm able to communicate in this some way, maybe people will understand me more, the people who judge it or think it's
Right.
just so woo out there or whatever it is. I have a lot
Totally.
of times the ways that poets, musicians, we want to be known, so we find ways to express. And so
Yeah.
that's been my way
Yeah.
of trying to do that and then also influence other people like you can do this too, especially if you're really
Yeah.
drawn to it. And in fact, it would be very, very healthy for you to do so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think this is the different roles is like we really need that 1-3, right? The martyr and the investigator, like synthesizing information, trialing and erroring it yourself, like going and showing and leading and guiding the way. I'm a 6 too. So mine's much more about like embodying in this space and then and living into it, not necessarily needing to synthesize it. And this is something that I'm figuring out because I think I really want to synthesize. I want to do what you're doing and I'm not really good at it. But so I'm trying to like force myself into this position that I'm not good at. Like for me, I'm just like, man, if I like live, eat, and breathe this stuff and just show that this is a possibility that it really fucking works, then I don't need to try and get into your conscious brain to try and explain it to you in a way that you'll understand. Like you're going to feel it. Like you're going to feel it in my resonance, in my space. And but then I have to own that. And that's its own journey. And it's super great.
We all go through these journeys in the different spaces. I've definitely felt shame or resistance to embodying and being me in this expressed way, or even as a woman in society being like, guess what, I am brilliant, and what? Let me teach you something,
Yeah.
has been something I've needed to navigate. And then also I felt like with so much, at least in the echo chamber that I exist in, there's so much focus on, oh, forget mindset, like all these words, analyzing is bad, only be in your intuition and do these things. And then that has suppressed me in some certain ways where I
Oh,
felt
yeah.
shameful of like, wait a minute, I'm really good at analyzing. I think that
Yeah.
I shouldn't be putting that down because other
Yeah.
people get stuck there, when I know that for me there's magic in it. And so no matter what end
100%.
of the spectrum we're on, whether you got straight hair and you want curly hair, we're all navigating
Yeah.
similar energies just on the whatever is applicable to us. And so it's been really pivotal for me to just own that piece for me of, okay, I am meant to have this information and then put it out in a lot of words. So many words.
Yeah.
But I'm also
We
a
need your
Virgo.
words.
I'm a Virgo and I have Virgo, like 4 Virgo placements. So
Woo!
it is what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah. I mean, I love it. I know I need it. I feel like I've been gaining so much from what you've been sharing recently on your stories. And again, like just watching you step into that role and really own it. I'm like, big snaps. And also like fucking, there's like this part of me that's just like really grateful, like really, really grateful to be witnessing you do that, because again, it gives me permission to do the same. And, also just grateful for the knowledge that you have to give, a multiple or multifaceted level of gratitude where it's like, yes, this person is living into their role, and she also has a lot of really good information that I can use that I could try on and experience for
And
myself.
since I was on the playground, I was the kid everyone copied off. So it's not, and I don't consider it copying.
No, you're
But in but
manifester.
in
We get
certain but in
it.
certain ways, people are influencer. They'll come and they'll say, "Okay, I'm gonna
Yeah.
start putting light language in my paintings. Is that
Yeah.
okay?" Or if I'm doing
Yeah.
anything and that seems like something you want to do too, be my guest. I've been the one my
Yeah.
whole life where I'm like, yeah, I'll share some answers with you. And I love inspiring people and I love influencing them. I
Yeah.
really feel that to the core of my being. And so, yeah, I definitely love that both of us are these like transformative people walking our paths, and there's so much resonance between us. And I feel like when, and I'll just say when and not if, you have these more solidified beautissimo plans for your 2026 projects, I'd be so open to having another conversation with you. So
Yeah, me as well. There's a lot on the way. I'm writing a book currently. We're building this massive project for Burn, this upcoming year of the Fire Horses. I mean, it's I think really, really oriented towards building this project, building the Burn project. So everything that's happening in this moment is also really integrated for that experience. Would love to have another chat in the future when that all aligns. And I feel like this conversation has given me some clarity around pieces that I've also been a little stagnant and a little stuck with. And I think that's one of my favorite things about being able to connect and communicate with individuals who are you really were able to guide me into my own space to be like, oof, okay, so that's what I think. Like or like connect the dots and say like, oh, that's what's going on, this thing that I've been a little stuck with. So just wanted to say thank you for that too.
yay, thank you.
Yeah.
This was such a cool conversation. I have like 10 of them in the calendar, but this is my first one that I've done. So
Oh, hell yes.
yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to say before I hit the stop record button, and then we'll have a couple minutes of chat?
Thank you to you. Thank you to everybody who's listened and tuned in for this, and for supporting my, honestly, not just my art, but like my journey as a human being. That is something that I don't take lightly. And if we have worked together in tattooing, I fucking love you so much. And like, you have literally changed my life. Like, I do feel so connected for life to every single person, no matter how it turns out. Like, I'm so connected to them and to everybody. And to everybody that I get to tattoo. I'm really excited. And I do believe at the end of the day, what is happening with all of this stuff is that a community is being grown. And that is, I think, where my ultimate vision lies within all of this, is to create a community of people who we all resonate into this lane, and then we get to lean on each other and have that experience of being able to not have to translate all the time and be like, oh, that's right, I see you. Because I think a lot of us have spent a lot of our years feeling really alone throughout this process. And so as we share this light, we get to also share it with others and have that community aspect. So yeah, just wanting to say thanks.